Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, men and women, welcome to my recap of the season 2 premiere of Queen Sugar. I love these people. These people are my family. This is my tribe of people. Everybody on this show, they're dysfunctional, they're messy, they're a beautiful mess. Like, I saw the premiere for the first time at ABFF last week, and the whole cast was there, and they called themselves a beautiful mess. And I was like, yes, that is a beautiful dysfunctional mess, because the choices, but I love them. The people on the show, and then also the cast in real life. I would invite every single one of them to my birthday cookout. Like, I trust Aunt Vi's pies. I trust Remy's pies. Hollywood, Remy, Ralph Angel, I don't eat meat, but I trust them to get on the grill. I think their veggie burgers or their tofu moments or their grilled vegetables, delightful. They will make delightful, delectable food. I trust them. I trust Aunt Vi and Nova. I trust with the potato salad and the macaroni and cheese. Now Charlie, I don't really trust Charlie with the macaroni and cheese. I trust Charlie with the chairs. Charlie will make sure that there is enough seating, that there is sufficient ice. Not with the macaroni and cheese. There's a lot to cover, so let's just get into it. The biggest moment of the 2-part season premiere was Micah's arrest. The beginning of the episode, Micah and Kiki are joyriding in the car. He's letting his girlfriend push his new whip. It's his birthday present from his father. You know what? The first thing I thought was that car is going to be trouble. And I didn't think he was going to get arrested. And I really thought something would happen, like he flipped his car and he got into a car accident. I didn't think about him being arrested. He's a young black man pushing a, probably $80,000, $100,000 car through the backwoods of Louisiana. As soon as he got pulled over and he said he doesn't have his license, I knew that wasn't going to end well. One thing about him getting pulled over, and I had to check myself on this. So Micah rolls down the window and he's not like, hello, officer, you know, what seems to be the problem? He's not deferential. He's not submissive. He's like, basically, I wasn't speeding. Why are you pulling me over? And he says he doesn't have his license, so he's in the wrong in that sense. And then the cop was like, okay, well, let me see your registration. And Micah just hops on over the car, and I'm just like, boy, what are you doing? But what he's doing is acting like someone who's free and not scared. And I'll tell you, my father taught me how to drive, and along with this is how you do a 3-point turn and this is how you parallel park, it was also, if you ever get pulled over, you turn the radio down, you keep your hands on the 10 and 2, you make sure you have your seatbelt, and you refer to the officer as sir or ma'am. And not that it really makes a difference, because we've seen on video, you know, plenty of black folks being, you know, deferential to officers and they end up dead all the same. But the idea was, at least if you show respect or deference, you can get a ticket but get out with your life and avoid an arrest. But Micah, he acted like any young white kid would if they got pulled over by the police. So Micah ends up getting arrested. Seeing him in the station, just, it broke my heart, because he's a kid and he's being locked up with grown men who may or may not be guilty of crimes, may or may not be guilty of very dangerous crimes. And he's just a boy. He really is. He's a sweet, lighthearted boy. And he's very fortunate to make it to 16 without being hardened. Because a lot of boys, they have, and girls, they have really hard experiences early on in life. And he's had the privilege, which shouldn't be a privilege, but it is, to be a black boy and make it to 16 and not have the joy sucked out of you, not feeling like you have to be hard in order to exist in the world. So seeing him in jail, seeing him being put in the holding cell with the other men, the grown men, his mama not knowing where he is. Obviously, Charlie and Nova find out where he is. Charlie calls Davis. Charlie just busts into the police station, metaphorical guns ablaze, and gets nowhere. Nova tries to intervene, and that doesn't go anywhere. And then Davis shows up, and he's like, you know what? I got this. Let me handle it. No one wants to do the Stephen Fetchit act to get their kid out of jail. You do what you have to get the job done. Davis is smiling. He's very charming. He's even taking selfies with the mofos who locked up his kid. And it's effective. But Charlie, it's like she can't help herself. Charlie hugs Micah and make sure that he's like physically okay, and then immediately starts launching into Davis about like, oh, you put on this act and you know you're cooning for white folks, and he was like, it was my dance to do. He did what he had to do. He solved the problem. He got the kid out of jail. Can't you just say thank you? It's a common theme with Charlie, because Aunt Vi says to her later in the episode when Ralph Angel's like, oh, you know, I did some work on the tractor and the repairs are going to cost less money now. Aunt Vi and Nova are like, great job, Ralph Angel. That was smart thinking. You know, just a little encouragement. And Charlie's just like, well, you know, we could have saved more money in the long run if you would just do X, Y, Z. And it's like, man, you ain't got to be right all the time. Honestly, Charlie girl, you got to get the plank out your own eye, because you got problems. Charlie and Davis are arguing in the parking lot. Poor child was so scared he pissed his pants, and either he did it in the parking lot or he did it inside. Either way, the only person that notices is Auntie Nova. She hugs up the child and says it's okay. Thankfully, he wasn't beaten, he wasn't bruised physically, but you don't get locked up. Like Ralph Angel says later in the episode, no need to ask him if he's okay. He just got out of jail. No, he ain't okay. And Micah, bless his heart, like he spends the end of that episode into the second part of the premiere just lost, just wandering around aimlessly looking for some sort of direction and can't find none. It's gonna be a long while before, or if he's ever back to that happy-go-lucky innocent, because he's not really innocent anymore. He's seen another side of the way the world works, and I hope he can find some of the joy that he used to have. Nova, Sister Nova, how you living, boo? Cause Nova just got some strange peen in the bed. Like, ma'am, how much strange peen you gonna allow in your bed, in your lady parts? Look, I'm all for sharing. Sharing is caring, but you sharing a lot. Look, far be it for me to police some other grown woman's cho-chop. That's not my ministry. That's not my business. But it's a difference, I think, between liking to have sex and enjoying sex for what it is than having the sex and looking disgusted with yourself in the morning and being embarrassed when somebody you've previously had sex with approaches you like, hey, can we do it again? Girl. And I think the worst part of it is that Nova is so empowering in every other part of her life. She's like, oh, let me raise some bail money. When Aunt Vi is feeling low at the club about Hollywood, she's like, oh, you're unforgettable. You're amazing. Micah needs help. She can't be more helpful. When Charlie runs into Davis at the club, Nova comes over all superpowered. Don't. That little white girl, she tried to stand up. She sat herself down with haste, expeditiously, rapidly, quickly. Like she knew she was up against something that she couldn't handle. Let me just sit on down. Okay. All right. Okay. When she goes to the baby shower, she's sitting with her friends. She's the most empowering woman there. The other women are like, oh, I didn't think I'd see myself single at this age. And Nova's like, oh, you got options. You should come to this rally. You could turn a Barry into a Barack. Like, she's just like everybody's biggest cheerleader. But who cheering for you, boo? You need a cheerleader. You trying to do some Solange, cranes in the sky, trying to sex it away, and that ain't the answer. I'll tell you what the answer is: therapy. You need therapy. You trying to care for everybody else, but you need to care for yourself. Let's do a prayer circle for Nova and hope she can get on the good foot and get right, because she not right now. Sister Charlie, look, I'm gonna be hard on Charlie, but I'm gonna say this: I see a lot of myself in Charlie. I see some ugly parts that I need to do some work on. Charlie, she out here trying to be Superwoman, but she's not. And she treats people wrong. She does. What she did to Remy has been nothing but supportive of her. And she's at the bank trying to get a loan. And the loan officers, the bankers, the Wall Street guys, whoever they are, they say, yeah, we'll give you the loan as long as you have your husband's name on it. She gives it a beat. I'll give her that. And then she's like, sure, that's fine. Just totally dismissing the man sitting in front of her that's been helping her all along, because it's not Davis. That's not who the help is coming from. I don't know a way that she could have handled that better in the moment, but afterward, after the bankers left, She didn't apologize to Remy, nothing. She was just like, oh, let's go get a drink to celebrate. Like, you played him to the left and didn't even acknowledge that you did it. And I respect Remy so much because he was like, no, you need to handle your married lady business so you can be seen in public drinking with another man. It was light shame. And she needed that because she's trying to move on and start this new something, but she hasn't finished up her personal business and she needs to handle that. That's not the first time she's done that to him. In last season, she was kikiing with Remy. They were leaning up against a car. I think it was outside Aunt Vi's house. And she got a call from Davis. And she steps away to take the call. And she and Remy had been making plans, I guess, to go back to his house. And so she was like, oh, yeah, I'm going to go see Davis, but can I come see you later? And Remy was like, no, I have boundaries. I have self-respect. And you can't just play me to the left with somebody else and think I'm still going to be here. That is the standard that I wish everyone would adhere to. So that's her issues with Remy. But her issues with Davis, Charlie, Nova, and Aunt Vi go to the club. Davis sitting up in there with some busted white chick. Look, I ain't got nothing wrong with the man wanting to have a white woman, but I'm just saying, you're an active NBA player in the state of Louisiana. There are beautiful women in Louisiana, like white, black, any other color. That's the best you could do? Really, Davis? You went from Charlie to that? Even his little prostitute side piece was a cutie. You just went and got some straight strange, Davis. Charlie runs up on him and his little friend, and she gives them a mouthful. Aunt Vi is belligerent, not really so much over Davis. That was really more about Hollywood, and she can't take it out on him, so she took it out on the next available man who screwed up. But Aunt Vi gets kicked out the club. Charlie follows along behind them, but before she leaves, she gives Davis and old girl the death stare. They look properly shamed, and I'll give him credit that he sat there and took it because, sir, you deserved every bit of that. Her next interaction with Davis is on the day of their final divorce mediation. Charlie gets there and Davis is like, I got an oopsie for you. I want joint custody of Micah. Charlie is enraged and distraught at this idea, but I'm like, wait. Didn't last season you blackmail one of his teammates into staying in New Orleans so that Davis would stay in New Orleans and be close to Micah? And didn't you once call Davis to be like, oh, Micah needs you. You need to come to us. And didn't Davis show up? So you told the man his son needs him. You masterminded a plan to keep Davis nearby. And now that he's nearby and you've criticized him for being irresponsible and not wanting to step up. You've shamed the man constantly for not being the best father he could be. And now that he wants to step up, you're like, no. Like, what is it that you want from him? Do you know what you want from him? I don't think you do. In light of what just happened with Micah, I don't think anyone could really argue that the boy doesn't need his father. And Davis was like, have you talked to your son? Because Micah told me he's fine with it. She pops up at Micah's school trying to get an answer out of him. He's not even there. So she ends up crying in the parking lot. I think partially because her world is out of control, that her son is hurting and there's nothing that she could really do. But also I think she probably had the realization that the boy really does need her dad and that she is not enough. And she's not supposed to be. He's got two parents for a reason. If you as a mom have to fill in for the absentee other parent or the derelict other parent, that's one thing. But he has a dad who actively wants to participate, and you got control issues. That's not really about what's best for Micah, because what's best for Micah is at least part-time being raised by his dad. Not just seeing him, but like Davis said, raising him. Davis is he's a crappy husband for what he did to Charlie. But if you remember back to the beginning of first season when we first met these characters, Micah was in love with his dad. He idolized him. And look, I'll be the first to admit, Davis is not perfect. Davis got a whole lot of issues that he needs to personally address. But so does Charlie. Like, you want to criticize this man for cheating on you, but this man can also criticize you for committing fraud. Charlie, you out here committing illegal acts. Ma'am, what are you? I know you want the bottom line to happen, but this man is eventually going to find out that you forged his signature. I think y'all both want what's best for the kid, and y'all should focus on that. Because trying to go back and forth about who's the better parent and who's better at rape, both of y'all got issues. The plank, ma'am. Please remove the plank from your own eye. I totally see where Micah gets his aimless searching from. Micah's off wandering around New Orleans, doesn't know what to do with himself. Charlie, same thing. She has her issues with Davis, and then Micah's nowhere to be found and needs alone time. Charlie calls her mother. I didn't know Charlie and her mother actually had a relationship. She's mentioned her once. I think she sent flowers when their father died, but that's the only time I've heard her mentioned of her. But she's calling her mom and she's pouring out to the voicemail. Charlie can't get in contact with her mother, and then she just pops up at Remy's house. Now, y'all know how I feel about people doing pop-ups. Like, I don't believe men should do it. I don't believe women should do it. Remy answers the door and is like, usually I don't receive company today. But he was like, I'm gonna make an exception for you. And Charlie's like, oh, what's going on? He tells her, well, it's the 4-year anniversary of when my wife passed away. He just pours out, just emotionally messy, with good cause all over the place about his wife's passing. That was a sad story. It's been 4 years. To him, it's like it just happened. I felt bad for that man. I'm sorry for your loss with Sean. I felt that. I did. I really did. So, Aunt Vi, I love me some Aunt Vi. You need a good elder in your life, a good elder who with a youthful spirit, not somebody who's too old and just is grumpy. But Aunt Vi, she like Nova. She could give you some really good advice. She could tell Charlie, you need to just be a little more encouraging with Ralph Angel. She could spot that a mile away. She could be encouraging. She was nurturing to Blue. That's the most beautiful child. I love that little boy. Blue playing with those little chicks. That was the cutest moment I have ever seen on television. But I digress. Vi and this Hollywood situation, with combined years, these two people have lived over 100 years on Earth and just can't figure nothing out. Vi is blowing up Hollywood's phone. He ain't calling her back. And I want to tell her because he don't want to talk to you. And for a minute, I thought the way Hollywood was looking on that ship, I thought Hollywood might have had a lady friend because he was just looking just weird. I just couldn't make sense of it all. But Vi is calling and she's leaving voicemails. He ain't calling her back, but he made time to call Ralph Angel. He want to call Ralph Angel and talk about the grounds, want to ask about everybody else. And Ralph Angel just called him on his itch. He was like, you want to know how Vi doing? You need to call Aunt Vi and ask her herself. I ain't getting in the middle of y'all mess. Ralph Angel was like, I got my own situation. I'm trying to get my own life together. I'm not going to be involved in these grown folks shenanigans. Good for you, Ralph Angel, because these grown folks need to get it together. But he's ducking her calls. He finally answers when she calls him about Micah, which was totally not about Micah. She just wanted the man to call and talk to her. She's flopping on the bed like a 13-year-old girl. She was like, things didn't end right. We need to do better. He's like, it didn't. He's calling her babe. And I'm trying to figure out exactly what is Hollywood's problem. Because your whole wife ran up on Aunt Vi at her house and embarrassed her in front of all her family, all her friends, and all the neighbors. So Hollywood seems to be upset that she didn't forgive him right away, or she seemed to move on too quickly when he saw her dancing with the guy at the club, which was just a dance. But I'm still trying to figure out what Hollywood is upset about. So you was going to be married to Cousin Pam for years, and you were going to date this woman forever and a day and never mention to her that you were somebody's husband. And you don't understand why she was mad at you, and it took her time to process and forgive. Like, what are you upset about, sir? Because she rejected you? Well, yeah, like you deserve some rejection. You needed to work and get your itch together. Like, she had standards like Remy had standards, and you should have respected that. I don't understand what Hollywood's mad about, but Vi hears about an explosion out on the oil rig. She drops everything. She was babysitting Blue. She dropped him back off with his daddy, and she went down to wait wherever the guys come back from the rig. And Lord have mercy, if Hollywood didn't take forever and a damn day to get off that bus. Like, I swear, if he hadn't got off that bus, I was already crying. I would have cried harder. But when he got off that bus and she ran to him and he ran to her, I cried. I legit cried in my living room like my man had just been rescued from an oil rig. I ain't got no sense. Y'all know I ain't got no sense. And I would have cried harder if he didn't get off that bus. I would have cried just like I did when William died on This Is Us. That was the saddest. Lord, but in Hollywood, look, I don't even want to think about it. I don't want to think about it. I hope they work it out. I'm gonna pray for Hollywood and Aunt Vi. I'm gonna pray for Charlie and Nova and Micah. I'm gonna pray for Blue just because that's a beautiful baby. Oh, I don't know how I forgot Ralph Angel. So here's the thing about this show. The only emotionally well-functioning people are the ex-felon and the recovering addict. Because those two will ask for some help. Ralph Angel, here's the price of these soybeans. I can't afford the price of these soybeans. Ralph Angel went to the bank. The bank denied him. He said he had to get another signature. He said, I'm sick of dealing with Charlie and her put me down all the time self. He went and found an older man. He said, Remy, I don't know what to do. Remy said, here, bruh, this is what you do. He made some calls. He wanted to take Darla on a date. 1 second about that. He wanted to take Darla on a date. He showed up at the diner, said, Aunt Vi, I need some help. Can you watch the baby? Ralph Angel will get some help. He is not afraid to ask for help. He has learned that trying to do things on his own, sometimes he don't have the right judgment. Sometimes he needs a little extra. He needs somebody to pour into him. All they can say is no. And surprisingly, most of the time he asks for help, he gets it. Healthy behavior. I'll tell you what else is some healthy behavior. Dara, she's coming up on her 2-year anniversary of her sobriety. She's still embarrassed about some of the things she did while she was using. She feels like there's a stain on her. She felt herself getting a little antsy. So she went and took herself to a Narcotics Anonymous meeting. Ma'am, if you feel that you are about to use drugs, that is a great place for you to be. She said, I need to be involved with my sponsor again. I need to begin going to meetings, and I'm going to prioritize that over everything else. I'll be late to dinner, but I'm going to get myself some help first. I'm going to take care of that. Ralph Angel called her outside and was like, hey, you really need to be getting this help because, it's been a while. And, I feel like if you're living in the past, you can't move forward. She said, you don't understand. I'm going to get this help. So he was like, well, all right, because he understands needing some help, asking for some help. I'll tell you what else Darla said. Darla was like, you know what? This relationship is everything I've always wanted, but we're moving too fast. It's too intense for me. Ralph Angel, he looked heartbroken. He said, you breaking up with me? She said, no, we're just going to slow some things down. I'm not going to come over to your house tonight. I'm going to go to my house. I'm going to take some time for myself. I'll see you another day. Ralph Angel, he felt like I might be losing my woman. My woman ain't happy. My woman got some issues. Sir said it might be time to bring back some romance. He didn't call. He didn't text. He showed up at her job. I want to see you. I want to see what you look like. I want to see your smile. I want to smell you. I want to see if you smell good. Like interested. When they interested, they act interested. He ain't come empty-handed. He came with some beignets. He showed up with a smile and he asked her out on a proper date. He said, I want to take you out somewhere. I want to do things proper and right. And she said, okay. And when she showed up for the date, Ralph Angel was sitting across from her in a tie at his father's funeral. I think that was the last time we saw Ralph Angel in a tie. That man said, I'm interested. I'm going to act interested in a tie. And of all the men on this show, Ralph Angel was the brokest. Ralph Angel ain't got a whole lot of money. He took Darla out. He had a set amount set aside and couldn't afford the tip. He broke as hell, but he figured it out. And Darla was like, hey, you ain't gotta play no role with me. Like they had a kid. They've been through her addiction. They've been through his incarceration. We're past that. We've done all that. Communication. Two grown people communicating. Revolutionary. They're the youngest people on the show. From the outside looking in, the world would call them the most dysfunctional because of their past. But look at these highly functioning people communicating, acting right, asking for help. The rest of the people around him, their whole family, could learn a lot from the recovering addict and the ex-felon. Look at God. Won't he do it? Learn something from Ralph Angel. Learn something from what Ralph Angel just did. These men will work for you and will be happy to do it. Be happy to do it and be happy to say they did. If you ever listen to married men talk about their wives, they love to talk about how they worked for this woman, how they had to drive somewhere, had to fly somewhere. They'll do it and want to tell people that they did it. They enjoy it. These dudes like, oh, I didn't call because I didn't respond to your text because I couldn't make it because I ain't got no money because they'll figure it out. They want to be with you. They will figure it out. But that's my recap. That's what I thought of the season 2 premiere of Queen Sugar. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know what you think about Hollywood and Vi and Remy and Charlie and Davis and Nova. Just prayers for Nova. Just prayers for Nova and a gynecological visit. Because I think she putting a lot of use on that. Like she may need a visit, a checkup, make sure no one's brought anything and left it behind. Yeah, share your thoughts. Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching. As always,